This is you. You want to organize your life on Notion with no limits, so you need Notion automations. But like many others, you can't afford the subscription. Need Notion automations without paying for the premium plan? Say no more. Introducing Notion Automation Modules. But wait a minute, what are automation modules? To explain, we need to remember the basic structure of how automations in Notion work. This is a database, and this is the automation. Notion automations use a trigger in one database, this could be a new page added or a property edit, to make changes in the same database, or in another database, or to make a notification. The automation is one automatically performed task once you start a trigger. An automation module, meanwhile, is a group of all the databases, properties, and pages associated with an automation. Premium users can freely do whatever they want with the automation. But if you are a free user, you can't edit the automation, its triggers, and effects. This is where the loophole comes in. You can't make or edit automations for your existing databases since that would require a Plus account. But if you have the module, you don't need to edit the automation. In other words, if you have the entire system that contains the automation, then you won't need premium editing access in the first place. All you need to do is duplicate any database with the pre-built automations you need, and then you can make your edits to the properties and pages associated with the automations without needing to change the automation itself. And everything still works fine. You can't edit the properties involved in the automation, but you can edit the names of the properties to fit the context of what you're using it for. You can repeat this over and over again using different types of databases with no problem. You're going to find that the same automation of marking a checkbox as true to set the date now can be reused for different cases. A task manager can have a done checkbox property to automatically set the done date property. A reading list can have a read checkbox property to automatically set the read date property. A practice tracker can have a practice checkbox property to automatically set the last practice date property. You'll find that one automation module is enough to serve as the template for different uses. So how do we start? How do we use Notion automation modules? First, duplicate the automation module's Notion template into your workspace. Next, determine what database are you trying to make. For example, we'll be making a school notes database. Then find the automation module that you need. For example, we want it so that every new note in our school notes database will automatically create a related quiz in a quiz database. See how I can't edit automations since I'm using my free account right now. The next step is to duplicate this module so that you can reuse the same module later. Now there are two ways to duplicate the module. If the automation exists in one database and targets a property in that same database, all you need to do is to duplicate the database from its menu. But for our case, since we're working with more than one database, we need to take the long way of duplicating a database. First, set the template to public, and then next, duplicate the template into your workspace. Now that you have the newly duplicated template, you can customize it to your needs. Here, let's name the trigger database as School Notes and the target database as Quiz. Let's also rename the template in the Quiz database as New Quiz. And let's test it out. And there, everything works as it should. And we didn't even need to edit the automations for this to work. Keep in mind, this is simply a clever workaround to use Notion's automation features for free users. Purchasing the Notion Plus and Above subscription is still, however, recommended for the multiple benefits outside of database automations.